What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and today I give my draft analysis and grade for the Commanders draft. And then at the end of the end of the show, I'm going to say something that needs to be said because everybody needs to hear it. But I'm going to actually be talking about the guys from my draft directly from my notes. These are my notes that I've been taking. I got way more, but these are just a few of my notes on guys that I was doing during the season and things like that. And I'm going to actually be telling y'all my evaluations of these guys directly during the time that they were playing or I saw film and went by. Again, I look at whole games. I don't look at highlights. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to start off from the very top. EMMANUEL Forbes. I got down here fast and doesn't get beat deep. He does a very good job with turning around and running down plays or sticking with faster receivers. There's also times where he has his lack in judgment, but he still is able to recover and get back into the play. So, again, that's something that I wrote down. The next one is great anticipation. He does a fantastic job with anticipating where the ball is going to go and breaking on it. It's rare that you see this from a guy who's very aware of what's happening. I don't think he understands routes yet, but but you can tell he's anticipating very well. With that, I'm not really certain if it's more anticipation or more him watching the quarterback, because he does watch the quarterback a lot, and that's something I'll get to later. But again, great anticipation. Plays stronger than his size. You can, he will go in there and make a tackle or attempt to make a tackle, and he will try his best to get in there and make a play. He's not the greatest tackler, but he's a very willing tackler, and he does a great job getting in there and trying to break up plays. So for that, I give him that. I will give him that. Last on the good, scheme diverse. You can watch him play man, and then you can watch him play zone. Either way, he does a fantastic job in both. His ability to jump very high. I don't know what it is about him, but his ability to get up very high, he does break up a lot of plays, and he also intercepts a lot of plays like that too. When he's playing zone, he finds a very nice sweet spot in the zone, and then he's able to actually pick the ball off. And man, he does a great job with that. He does a great job, running with the receivers downfield, making sure he doesn't get beat deep and things like that. But again, those are the good qualities of EMMANUEL Forbes. Here are the cons. Struggles in run defense when blocked. So sometimes you can tell that if a receiver is just stronger than him, he'll just take him out of the run game, out of the play altogether. He does have an issue with trying to get out of the block, but and I don't know if that's because of his size or if he's not strong enough. That's even with him not being strong enough, eventually that'll be something that will work for him. But I don't know how much speed he will lose if he put on more muscle. But again, he does struggle getting out of the block when he's being blocked by receivers, tight ends, and all that. He doesn't do well getting out of those blocks. He takes bad angles to make tackles. That's very true, but I think that has to do with him trying to go like 100 miles an hour, and he's trying to, and he goes low a lot. So there's a lot of times where he just, completely whiffs on the play. But sometimes he'll take just this odd angle. But again, I think the reason he takes these odd angles is because a lot of times he's so focused on trying to make a play on a pass that he's whiffing on tackles, or he's trying to recover and pay attention to something else and trying to make a play somewhere else, but he was so zoned in over here that he whiffs on the tackle. So even though it's a con, it's not one of his worst qualities, really. Last but not least, I got susceptible to double moves and pump fakes. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. I don't know if it's anticipation or him just watching the quarterback. There's a lot of times where he watches the quarterback more than he's watching the receiver he's running with. And there are times where he can get caught on double moves or he can get caught on pump fakes. Because there were a couple times where, I can't remember who it was, but he pump faked at him. He bit, and then the receiver ran right past him and made a play. So there are times where he does that. Then there was another play where the receiver looked like he was coming in. He was with him. He looked at the quarterback because he was in front of the receiver. The receiver then made a move upfield, and that's how he got caught. So again, very good pick. Kind of picked kind of high. I'm going to tell y'all like this. I was glad that they didn't take Christian Gonzalez. I was so stoked about that because I did not want Christian Gonzalez here. But again, very solid pick for Ron. Pick number 2, Jartavius Martin. Here you go. Jartavius Martin. Very good in run support. Like, he comes down. He's almost like a box safety who can cover. The deal with him is that he does a very good job in run support. I mean, the guy who played opposite him, Sidney Brown, was very good in run support as well. But he's very good in run support. It's no doubt about that. He plays fantastic in run support. He will get in there. He will make a play. He will blow up a play. He will blow up things. He will anticipate a lot of where the play is going at and will get in there and make a tackle immediately. He's a very short tackler, very, very short tackler. And he does a great job with, again, when it comes to run support, he's in there. The other thing I got, breaks on routes he notices. So if he sees that the receiver is going out into the flat, he'll sit up there and make a play on that immediately. Like, he gets out there very quickly. Not only that, if he sees that there's a chance that a guy is taking a slant route or something like that, and it's apparent that he's doing that, he will make plays on that really, really fast. The cons. Plays in trail positions, plays in a trail position has been burned by faster receivers. You can't tell if the receivers are just faster than him or if he's just not that fast himself. But there's been a lot of times where he went, because he plays in this trail position, which is something that a lot of safeties sometimes do, but he plays in it and he just gets burned. And it's so odd at how much he gets burned on those type of plays. But it's just he is what he is. I mean, if a guy is really fast, he's going to get past him and he's going to get a touchdown. And Jartavius Martin, he does play well. He does find a way to get into spaces and stuff like that. But again, if you watch the film, there's a lot of times where he will just be burned by a faster receiver due to his technique in that trail position. Next, not great in zone coverage. There were a lot of times where Sidney Brown had to basically maximize his zone coverage because Jartavius Martin was out of place. Like, there were a couple games, I know it was one in Michigan with the Michigan State game, and I forgot what the other game was, but in the Michigan State game, he was supposed to be back there defending, and he was down there close to the box. And it made no sense. And then there were times where he was just completely out of place. Like, it was another play where the tight end was running up the seam. That was clearly Jartavius Martin's guy, and he was over on the opposite, near the other sideline trying to basically double cover the wide receiver, and you could tell his responsibility was the tight end up the seam, and they got burned on that play. So he doesn't do well in zone coverage at all. But and I wrote down here a question: is he a product of a really amazing secondary? Again, some of his lapses in judgment could be because he knew Sidney Brown was going to be there to cover when he made a mistake. Or you have somebody like Devin Witherspoon, who's such a great cover corner that you don't really have to pay a lot of attention to who he's dealing with. So, again, I don't know. I can't tell if he is, but I worry about that. Is him being a part of that Illinois secondary, is he a product of that? And once he get into the NFL, you'll really see how good he is or how bad he could be. But other than that, not the greatest pick, especially when there were other guys still on the board. But again, not bad, but not great. Next is, I think it was Ricky Stromberg. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Ricky Stromberg. Great in run blocking. He is absolutely great in run blocking, but that's when he's coming off the line and blocking for the run. So it's like, if he's running into people and he's trying to move people, he's very good at that, like extremely good at that. He will get people out of the way to sit up there and open up holes and everything like that. So he does a fantastic job in run blocking. Uses hands well against stunts. If he does see a stunt, he has this one hand thing, but he does a good job of sealing it off when he sees it coming. So if a guy is acting like he comes in and comes around, he does a good job with being able to get back and seal them off and uses his hand very well. He does this one punch paw thing a lot. So I don't know why he does it, but it's one of those things he does, and he counters stunts very, very well. He also sets protections. Not the best guy when it comes to that. There were guys that I felt was better at that, but he does set protections. He's not always aware of the blitzers, but he does a really good job trying to set the protections, trying to get everybody lined up and into the right areas and who they're supposed to be blocking. With setting protections, that kind of helps like a younger quarterback, but again, I don't think he was the best guy for that. But again, his cons: not as great in pass protection. There are times where guys just push him. Like, there are times where he gets pushed and he's just pushed so far back that the middle of the pocket, that he's already in the middle of the pocket before the quarterback can even make a play. And for that, in the NFL, you don't want that type of thing. Again, if he's sitting up there and he's pushed back into the pocket and he's pushed deep into the pocket, you're talking about, you look at somebody like a Chris Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Jonathan Allen, Daron Payne, these bigger defensive tackles who get in the backfield and they don't care who's back there. Once they've gotten you deep into that pocket, they're already taking advantage of you not being able to set your blocks that early on. So with him, like I said, not as great in pass protection, but a lot of that's because he basically gets pushed into the pocket before he's able to set and engage in his block. But at that point, the play is already dead if they're able to get you that deep into the pocket. It's slow when pulling in the run game. He doesn't get out as fast as you want him to be. He's not the slowest guy, but he's not the fastest guy. There's a lot of times where the running back was waiting for him to finally get in front of him, and at that point the play was already done. So for that, again, this is why I'm kind of surprised that they went with this guy, especially when you're talking about a guy who's not that good in pass protection, and then on top of that, is slow when he's getting out and pulling for the run game. And that also leads to this: he misses blocks in space. again, because he's lumbering to get into the space, there's a lot of times where he'll just whiff on tackles. Like, guys will run, because guys will just speed right through him or speed right past him, and then the play has already been made, and he hasn't even really gotten into the area he was supposed to be in to make the block. So he's very slow. I was surprised that they went with him when you still had Luke Whippler on the board and you still had Olatemi on the board. So the fact that they went with Ricky Stromberg, I'm absolutely floored. And I don't know if Ron, sometimes I wonder if Ron even knew that the other guys was on the board. But again, for me, not the best pick, especially when there were other guys on the board. So that was that. He's right here. The next guy is Braeden Daniels. Very agile, good against the blitz. He does a fantastic job against the blitz and getting himself back into protection. He plays really, he's very, very agile. So what happens is that when the edge guys come off the edge and they're very, very fast, he does a fantastic job with getting in the way, in their way very quickly. I mean, very, very quickly. And it's actually pretty impressive with how agile he is. I mean, he gets back and it's like, whoa, like he's moving very quickly to get back into the blocks. And like I said, when blitzes are coming, and he does a great job with that too. Like he'll see a blitzer and he'll blow up a blitzer real fast. So again, I like that about him. Great blocking in space and getting to the second level. Again, this goes back about him being very agile. He gets out there quick, he blocks, and he'll take a guy with him. So if he sees that a guy is smaller than him and he's not doing much or he's not trying to tackle or whatever, he'll get out in space and he'll just take the guy with him and get him out there, get him away from the play and away from everything that's going on. So I really do like that about him. He's good with assistance. What that means is that if he sees that the center needs help or the tackle needs help or the guard needs help, he does a great job with helping them on their blocks. So if you see him play, there was a lot of times where he needed to help other guys so they wouldn't get beat. I don't know if that's an intelligence thing, because to notice and be aware of that's pretty goddamn impressive. And the fact that he's very aware on giving a guy help is really great. Not only that, he's so aware of giving a guy help, he'll see that if a guy he was supposed to be blocking is now no longer in the play or does something where he's delayed in making a play, he'll help and then come back to his guy. So again, very good with that. Good blocking technique. Like he does. He again, this goes back to him, the agility, and then you add a solid blocking technique. He's very good at that. And I mean, he's not the biggest guy, but he has great technique when it comes to blocking. Like he'll get in the way of guys, and you can tell he's not that strong against them, but his technique is so good that he will get guys out the way, move them out the way, find ways to work around them or have them walking around and stuff like that. He does a great job with that. And I mean, man, his technique is really solid. The problem is that he won't be a tackle. Well, he should be a tackle, but I don't know if he's going to be a tackle. Hell, I don't even know if he's going to be a guard. So that leads into my cons. Small. Look, and I wrote right here, I said, small, looks like a guy who went from tight end to O-line. He doesn't look like the biggest guy. He does play very strongly. I don't know if they can. I mean, he's basically, I think he's like 290 something. So that means they will have to pack on 10 pounds for him for him to be a little bit bigger. But then if you pack on that 10 pounds, how much of that agility does he lose? You know, so that's going to be a thing that might be problematic or worrisome when it comes to that. Because, again, you can't have a tackle that's 290 going up against defensive lineman that's 3-something. So, again, like I said, he's small. He looks small. He looks like a guy who was playing tight end and then moved to the O-line. Not as strong when facing stronger guys. Yeah. Like I said, that goes back to what I said the first time. Him being small, he doesn't look that strong, because there were a couple plays where he went against a guy that clearly looked stronger than him, and the guy just pushed him back. And it's like, you know, but again, with him using his good blocking technique, it kind of helped him out. But if he's not strong, again, we're talking about NFL level guys. If he's not strong enough, he's going to have a problem holding up in the league. So again, doesn't look strong, doesn't look that good when facing stronger guys. Not as solid in run blocking. So even though he blocks well in space, when it comes to run blocking as a whole, especially when the defensive linemen know it's a run, there are a lot of times that he can get pushed out of the way or get pushed into the running back. Like people who hold up the edge very well, he'll struggle against them when it comes to the run game. And when they seal that edge, he just has nothing. But again, I think that's a strength thing that goes along in with his size. So, but again, you're definitely going to have to see what happens to him. I would like for him to be focused as a tackle and not as a guard, because again, his agility is there. But again, I don't know. Once they put the weight on him, I wonder how much of that agility goes away and he has to play guard. So we'll definitely see about that. Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick. They probably could have took him before Ricky Stromberg, but again, definitely not a bad pick. I think the next guy is KJ Henry. Got him right here. KJ Henry. I've heard different evaluations of him, and I heard somebody say Miles Murphy light or something like that. That doesn't make any sense. But I'll get right down what he has. Gets hands up. Does a great job getting his hands up in the passing lanes and stuff like that. He will block a pass. He does a fantastic job with blocking passes and getting them out the way and things like that. So he does do that very well. Can turn and run, which means that if the running back if the running back gets out, the wide receiver gets out, he does do a fantastic job of turning around and running plays down. He does great with that. The problem that I have is that it happens a little too much, but that's for later. But again, he does do a fantastic job of turning and running. Uses hands effectively. He's there hand fighting a lot. But he does use it to make sure that he's able to still be in the play without really and cause disruption at times when he's using his hands a lot. He will sometimes show some power, but not the best power at all. He doesn't show the best power, but he does use his hand very effectively. Like I said again, when he's out there, he's betting down balls and things like that. He's pretty good at all that stuff. Solid tackler. When he makes a tackle, he makes a tackle. He wraps up. He does a great job with getting whoever down who needs to be down. So he's a very good tackler, very, very solid in tackling. Here are my cons about him. Not a pass rusher. Like he has a lot to learn when it comes to being a really effective pass rusher. And I got here, tackles walk him around the park. So and I'm gonna tell y'all what that means is that there are a lot of times where the tackles would just ride him right around the park, almost like, hey, why don't you come look at the stadium? Hey, I'm gonna show you the stadium. Oh, there's our jumbotron. Oh, look over there. There's my family. Wave at them. Say hi, family. So he doesn't give you a lot of desire when it comes to him being a pass rusher. Again, part of that is probably because he's good with his hands and stuff like that. He's kind of seals the edge, not really, but as a pass rusher, yeah, like I said, he goes and he takes a view of the stadium when he's pass rushing. Not really strong. Bull rush is non-existent, right? Like, again, he doesn't play as strong as you want him to be. He's not a very strong guy. And you can see that. You can see when he goes up against guys that are far stronger than him, he struggles. And because of that, again, you take the fact that they take him around the park and he's not that strong, so they hold him up a lot of times, and sometimes he's able to seal the edge, but you're not certain if he's sealing the edge or if the tackle is just sitting him there. So again, like I said, he doesn't play strong at all. Can be taken out of the run game completely. There's a lot of times where, like I said, again, the tackle will sit up there and turn him a certain way and he's done. Game, it's over. Or if a guy comes out in space and blocks him, he's out of the run game. Actually, sometimes can be absolutely non-existent in the run game. So again, not the best guy. I understand that they felt that they were getting a Miles Murphy type. I know he was the team captain, but I just don't. Not the best player. Chris Rodriguez Jr., the running back out of Kentucky. Here it is. Hits holes well. He does a fantastic job hitting the holes, making a decision, getting in the hole, and getting through the hole. He does that very well. Can outrun people, but not fast. So, again, it depends on who he's outrunning. If the guy's a little bit slower, he can definitely outrun him, but eventually somebody fast will run him down. He's not the speediest guy. So again, like I said, he can outrun people. He's just not fast. Strong short yardage back. When he makes a decision and he gets through the hole, he gets through the hole and he forces the hole. And he forces himself to at least gain a yard. Would probably be a very good short yardage back. The thing about it is that even though he would be a great short yardage back, and he's not prone to fumbling, which is actually pretty good as well. But he's just like, he's one of those grinding running backs, like grind. 2 yards, 3 yards, grind until he breaks a big one. Then he's grind. It's the same thing with him. It's grinding. The cons. Not great in pass protection. Yeah, he's not great at pass protection at all. I heard somebody say that he was great in that he was really good in pass protection. He's not. There were a lot of plays. There were 2 plays against Tennessee and a play against Missouri where he whiffed on the blocks, and basically Will Levis had to basically pretty much sit up there and basically take the sack because Chris Rodriguez get completely missed on the whiffed on the block. Again, that doesn't mean that, but again, because of his grinding style, I think he's more fit for that. But in a sense of pass protection, he's not that good. Like I said, Will Levis had a lot of sacks. Chris Rodriguez did miss some of those blocks on those sacks. So understand, he's not great at pass protection. He's more of a cut blocker. So what happens is that there are a lot of times that the more agile guys just jump over him and make the play. And you saw that happen in several games. So with that, he's not great in pass protection. No breakaway speed. I just told y'all, he's able to outrun people, but he's not fast. He has no breakaway speed. There's times where you have seen him run for long distances. But again, anybody that's fast will run him down. Anybody who can make a play will run him down. He's not gonna have that next level speed that you want sometimes. When a guy gets through the hole, he's out the hole and he's running. He doesn't have that breakaway speed to basically outrun faster guys. So that's one of them. Doesn't follow his blocking. There's a lot of times where he'll just outrun the lineman. The lineman will be ready to come out there and they're running in front of him and he'll just run right past him. Like, he doesn't set up his blocks well at all. And he could have had more yardage if he set up his blocks well, but because he just is running past his blockers, even when it came to the wide receivers, he would run past them before they even engaged in their block, and the cornerback or the safety would make the tackle because he wasn't setting up his blocks well. So yeah, he doesn't follow his blocking well at all. Not a good receiver. There were a lot of times in games where he would just completely drop the ball. So with that, again, not a bad running back, but not the greatest running back either. He does remind me a little of Pacheco. Only thing different is Pacheco's a lot faster than him, and Pacheco does a far better job setting up his blocks in front of him. But again, with him lacking that receiver ability a little bit, it's going to be hard to, because again, Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson both are fairly good when it comes to receiving, catching the ball out the backfield. Him, not as much. So again, this was one where he was just the best back on the board at that point, because I think Chase Brown ended up going 163, and I think we took him at 193. So at this point, Chris Rodriguez was the best back still on the board, other than Kenny, in regards to a more run-heavy guy, because Kenny McIntosh, I think it's Kenny McIntosh, he's actually a better receiving back who can also run, but again, he's not as good in pass protection either. But again, Chris Rodriguez was the best running back on the board at that point. And last but not least is Andre Jones Jr., the edge guy out of Louisiana. This is what I got right down for him. Great anticipation off the snap, non-stop energy. Yeah, he does a fantastic job knowing the snap. I mean, he gets off the snap so fast that it's like I think he surprises the offensive tackles all the time. So he really comes off that snap very quickly. So I mean, I think that's a very good quality to have. And he's nonstop energy. He can be blocked and he'll still move around and try to get something done and try to do everything he can to get into the tackle's lap or into the guard's lap, just so he can be doing something and moving. So he's very disruptive because of his energy level and his ability to anticipate the snap. So like I said, again, not a bad player, but here are the cons. Needs to be less predictable. When he goes to his counter move, it looks like the same thing over and over and over again. Like he's just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And he needs to find a way to develop better counter moves that is different than what he does. It would be nice to see him do more of a swim move to get around, or like a slap, just to help himself a little bit better, because he definitely, like I said, it rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So, and not only that, you could tell that at some point the tackles and the guards are like, oh, didn't he just do this a minute ago? And they set themselves up to just anticipate his second move and just be there just waiting for him to do it. So, again, not the best thing, but again, rinse and repeat. He's very predictable. Needs to be more active in the run game. He because he's anticipating the snap, there's a lot of times where he just gets lost in the run game because the running back will just run right past him, or they'll run up a hole that he should be sealing. Again, I'm surprised that they took this guy, especially when you're talking about gap integrity or gap responsibilities. I'm actually surprised that Ron took him because he's not a gap responsibility guy. And again, if you're focused on gap responsibilities and things like that, then this is one of these guys that you shouldn't have took, because he does not play like that. So here we are with, you got basically two edge guys that you took in the draft that aren't gap. Well, KJ Henry is gap responsible, but he's not a guy that's going to make a lot of plays. So that is it. Those are my evaluations for the guys. Those were all my handwritten evaluations as I was looking at these guys. Overall, my draft grade for them is a C-. KJ Henry is a developmental guy. He's a developmental guy. Andre Jones is a developmental guy. Again, I'm surprised they took him because he's not a gap responsible guy. Ricky Stromberg, there were other centers that was on the board that was better than him, and they took him instead. I'm surprised at that. Braeden Daniels, not a bad pick, but he's undersized. He's going to have to pick up weight, especially if they had him listed as a guard. So if he's going to play guard, he's going to have to pick up weight. Again, I'm not certain how much of his agility goes with that, but I can see that. JARTAVIUS Martin, we will see if he's a product of the secondary he was in. EMMANUEL Forbes, he's the one who brings the grade up because he's that good of a player. So, like I said again, C- for this draft class. Ron has either made very good decisions or he sunk the ship. Because when you really think about it, you're talking about, we got a lot of edge guys that is coming up in free agency. A lot of them. And the fact that he goes with two developmental ends, when you got all these possible free agents, coming up, and you got to make a decision on either Chase or Montez, this was not the smartest way to draft. Period. And people can get mad at me about this. They can say what they want to say. This was not an intelligent way to draft when you got two guys who could possibly be walking away. And then on top of that, you got to pick and choose which guy you're going to sign and hope you can get the other one on the franchise tag. Like, that's not smart business. And that's not the smart way to do it. And eventually one of them are going to have to go. Or you lose Cam Curl. That's another one. There are so many guys on this current roster that will be free agents just next year. Ron has basically drafted like he still got some more time. It's either he's drafting like he thinks he has more time, or he's drafting like, I don't care what happens, I'm going to be fired anyway. And it's not like we've not seen that level of petty from Ron before. So, I'm not too happy about this draft. Like I said, I like the EMMANUEL Forbes pick. I like the Braeden Daniels pick. But that's about it. I think everything else was okay or underwhelming. And because of that, C- is the grade. I've heard a lot of people get mad about how much people talk about the Eagles and their great drafting and stuff like that. I'll say it because everybody, look, be mad at your own general manager. Be mad at your own scouting department. Be mad at your owners and stuff like that. Because you know why? Howie Roseman is playing a completely different game than what everybody else is playing. Howie Roseman seems to be the only guy who's out here with the mindset of, I intend to win Super Bowls. You take Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera is sitting here talking about this is the first time he's gotten to actually team build. You telling me, so when you were doing all these drafts, you saying that wasn't team building? That's what you're saying? Howie Roseman has done a fantastic job. Fantastic job. Every time, I mean, he's even done such a good job that he waited until practically the draft was nearly over, called Detroit, and was able to make a trade for DeAndre Swift. Why are other teams' general managers not that persistent? Not thinking like that? Understand, they took an opportunity in previous drafts where they sat up there, moved back, picked up picks and everything like that, moved themselves up the board. They were calling around, they were moving up the board, they were moving down the board, they were moving everywhere they could in the draft and picked up quality players all over the draft. Why are other teams not doing that? The guy in Pittsburgh, look at what they did. They picked up a quality player in each round of the draft. Each round of the draft, they picked up a quality player. That's why I celebrate Howie Roseman. Because he's thinking about winning Super Bowls. He's thinking about, understand this, they got starters on their bench. They got starters on their bench. Yeah, did they take a lot of Georgia guys? They did take a lot of Georgia guys, but guess what they also did? They also made sure that they were taking the best Georgia guys. And then you add in the fact that they took Nakobe Dean the year before, who was basically the captain and the architect and the play caller for these guys for their championship year. Guess what's going to happen when he's going to be fully healthy and he's coming back? Say what you want to say. Howie Roseman is a damn genius. And to be quite honest, he should be celebrated every single day, because you know why? I wish the Washington Commanders had a general manager like Howie Roseman. Y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about my analysis of these guys, and what was your draft grade? Other than that, this has been your man John Fortune, and this has been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.